The smell of oak wood always takes me back. Standing in my father's living room, sunlight streaming through those old windows, I can still feel him here. Every scratch on the floor, every photo on the wall tells a story of love, sacrifice, and a man who never gave up on me. He left me this house 2 years ago. His final gift. I thought it would be where I built my future. I was wrong, because the woman who abandoned me 25 years ago just showed up, wanting to take it all away. That woman is my mother. Before I tell you how I faced my own mother in court, I want to know, where are you watching from today? Drop your city in the comments below. If you have ever had to fight for what is rightfully yours, hit that like button right now. And if you want to see how this ends, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you do not miss a thing. Now let me take you back to where it all began. To understand why my mother would do this, you need to know what kind of woman she really is. My name is Ulysses, and I was 7 years old when my world fell apart. It was winter, 1999. We lived in a small house on the outskirts of Austin, Texas. Nothing fancy, but it was home. I remember that morning so clearly it still hurts. I was sitting on the living room floor, pushing a toy truck back and forth, making engine sounds the way kids do. I heard voices in the kitchen. My parents were talking, but it did not sound like their normal conversations. There was something heavy in the air. Then I saw her. My mother, Dorothy, standing by the front door with a suitcase. She was wearing this red coat I will never forget. Her hair was done up nice, like she was going somewhere important. My father, Harold, stood a few feet away, his eyes red and swollen. He looked like a man watching his whole life crumble. Dorothy knelt down and looked at me. Her perfume was strong, flowery. She smiled, but it did not reach her eyes. "Mommy has to go away for a while, sweetie," she said. I did not understand. Go where? For how long? I dropped my truck and ran to her, wrapping my arms around her legs, begging her not to leave. I could feel her tense up. She patted my head once, twice, then gently pried my fingers off her coat. "Be good for Daddy," she whispered. And then she walked out the door. She did not look back. Not once. I stood there crying, watching through the window as a black car pulled up. A man I had never seen before got out and opened the door for her. She climbed in and they drove away. I learned the truth years later. My mother left us for another man. A businessman with money and promises of a better life. She chose luxury over her family. She chose herself over her own son. My father never spoke badly about her. Whenever I asked why Mommy left, he would just say, "She had her reasons, son." Some people are not meant to stay, but I could see the pain in his eyes. He carried that weight every single day. Harold was not a wealthy man. He worked as a carpenter, building furniture and cabinets for people around town. His hands were rough and calloused, but they were gentle when he tucked me in at night. He became both mother and father to me. He packed my lunches, helped with homework, taught me how to ride a bike, how to throw a football, how to be a man. Every evening after dinner he would read to me. Adventure stories, history books, whatever I wanted. He made voices for the characters and always stopped at the exciting parts so I would have something to look forward to the next night. One summer when I was about 12, we spent 3 weeks fixing up the house together. He taught me how to use a hammer, how to measure wood, how to sand down rough edges until they were smooth. We built a bookshelf for my room. It was crooked and imperfect, but I loved it more than anything store-bought. "A man's word is his bond, son," he used to tell me. "Never break a promise. Never take the easy way out when you know it is wrong." He lived by those words. He paid off the mortgage on our house after 20 years of hard work. 20 years of early mornings and late nights, of saying no to things he wanted so he could provide for me. That house represented everything he had sacrificed. It was his legacy. 2 years ago, my father was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. The doctors said he had maybe 6 months. I quit my job as a software engineer and moved back home to take care of him. Those final months were the hardest and most precious of my life. We talked about everything. His childhood, his dreams, his regrets. He told me stories I had never heard before. One night, about a week before the end, he grabbed my hand with surprising strength. His eyes were clear, focused. "The house is yours, son," he said. "You earned it. Do not let anyone take it from you." I promised him I would not. He passed away on a quiet autumn night, with his hand in mine, and peace on his face. I buried him next to his parents, in a small cemetery, outside Austin. And I kept his house. My house now. The only piece of him I had left. 6 months after the funeral, I was finally starting to feel normal again. I had gone back to work doing remote software development from the house. I was settling into a routine. Then my phone rang one afternoon. The number was unfamiliar. "Hello, Ulysses." The voice was female, hesitant. "This is your mother." I nearly dropped the phone. 25 years of silence. And now this. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it in my ears. She asked if we could meet. She said she wanted to talk, to explain, maybe, to make things right. Part of me wanted to hang up immediately. But another part, some foolish, hopeful part I thought I had buried long ago, wondered if maybe she had changed. Maybe she finally wanted to be my mother. We met at a coffee shop downtown. I got there early and sat in a corner booth watching the door. When she walked in, I barely recognized her. She was older, of course, but still put together. Designer clothes, expensive jewelry, perfectly styled hair. But there was something tired in her eyes, something worn down. She sat across from me and immediately started crying. She said she was sorry. She said leaving was the biggest mistake of her life. She said she had thought about me every single day for 25 years. For about 10 minutes I believed her. I felt the ice around my heart starting to crack. Maybe people really could change. Maybe I could have a mother again. Then she shifted the conversation. "Your father and I were married for 10 years, she said, dabbing at her eyes. "That house was our marital property. I think I deserve something from it." The warmth I had felt vanished instantly, replaced by cold understanding. She was not here for me. She never was. She was here for the house. For the money. "I just want what is fair," she continued. "Maybe we could work something out. Sell it and split the proceeds." Before I could respond, a man appeared at our table. Tall, silver-haired, wearing a suit that probably cost more than my car. Dorothy introduced him as her husband, Victor Lawson. He shook my hand with a smile that never reached his eyes. "Pleasure to meet you, Ulysses. Your mother has told me so much about you." Everything about him felt calculated, rehearsed. I looked at my mother then, at this stranger, and I understood exactly what was happening. This was not a reunion. This was an ambush. I left the coffee shop without another word. As soon as I got to my car, I called my Aunt Lorraine, my father's younger sister. She had been there for me my whole life, the closest thing to a mother figure I ever really had. "Aunt Lorraine," I said, my voice shaking, "you are not going to believe who just contacted me." When I told her about Dorothy, she went quiet for a long moment. Then she sighed heavily. "I was afraid this day would come," she said. "There is something you need to know about your mother, Ulysses. Something your father never told you." That same evening I drove to Aunt Lorraine's place. She lived about 30 minutes outside Austin in a cozy little house filled with plants and family photos. She was waiting for me on the porch with 2 cups of coffee. We sat in her living room and she pulled out an old cardboard box from her closet. "Your father asked me to keep this safe," she said. "He hoped you would never need it." Inside the box were documents. Legal papers from 1999. The original divorce agreement between my parents. I read through it carefully, my hands trembling. According to the paperwork, Dorothy had voluntarily relinquished all claims to marital property. In exchange, she would not be required to pay any child support. She wanted a clean break, complete freedom, no financial obligations, no ties to the family she was abandoning. There was something else in the box. A handwritten letter yellowed with age. I recognized my mother's handwriting from old birthday cards she had sent when I was very young, before she stopped pretending to care. "I do not want any responsibility," the letter read. "The boy is better off without me. I give up all claims to everything. The house, the savings, everything. Just let me go." Reading those words felt like being stabbed in the chest. She had not just left us. She had written it down, put it in her own handwriting that she did not want me. But as the pain washed over me, something else emerged. These documents were legal proof that she had given up any right to the house decades ago. If she tried to take it from me, I had evidence to fight back. Aunt Lorraine put her hand on my shoulder. "Your father kept everything," she said. "He knew Dorothy. He knew someday she might come back wanting something. He wanted you to be protected." I hugged her and thanked her. Then I drove home, clutching that box like it contained the most precious treasure in the world. 2 weeks later, a man knocked on my door. He handed me an envelope and walked away without a word. Inside was a formal lawsuit. Dorothy was suing me for 50% of the house's value, claiming it was marital property she had been unfairly denied. Her argument was that the divorce paperwork was unclear about specific assets and that my father had pressured her into signing while she was emotionally unstable. Lies, complete lies. But they were presented in professional legal language clearly written by an expensive attorney. I spent that night staring at the ceiling, wondering how someone could be so shameless. But I refused to give up. I started researching lawyers, looking for someone who could help me fight this. The next day, I received an unexpected phone call. "Ulysses, this is Marcus Webb. I was a friend of your father's. I heard about the lawsuit." Marcus explained that he and my father had been close since high school. Years ago, when Marcus was struggling to pay for law school, Harold had helped him out without expecting anything in return. Marcus had never forgotten that kindness. "I am a civil litigation attorney now," Marcus said, "and I want to represent you, free of charge. Your father was the most honest man I ever knew. I owe him this." For the first time since receiving that lawsuit, I felt a spark of hope. I was not alone in this fight. Over the following weeks, Dorothy escalated her campaign. She started calling distant relatives, spinning a story about how I was ungrateful and greedy. She painted herself as the victim, a mother who had made mistakes but deserved forgiveness and fairness. Some relatives believed her. I received messages from cousins I had not spoken to in years, telling me I should just give her the money and move on. Victor got involved too. I started receiving anonymous text messages from unknown numbers. "Just give her what she wants. It will be easier for everyone." I knew it was him. The wording was too calculated, too threatening. The pressure was immense. I barely slept. I would sit in the living room late at night, looking at my father's photograph on the wall, wondering if I was strong enough to see this through. But then Marcus discovered something crucial. He did some digging into Victor Lawson's background and found that Victor was drowning in debt. Over $200,000. His business had failed, creditors were circling, and he was desperate. That was why Dorothy needed money so badly. Not for herself, for him. To save the man she had chosen over her own son. Knowing their true motivation only made me more determined. I started recording every phone call from Dorothy and Victor. Texas law allows one-party consent for recordings, meaning I only needed my own permission to record conversations I was part of. About a week before the trial, Dorothy called me directly. Her voice was sweet, almost motherly. "Honey, let us settle this outside of court," she said. "I just want what is fair." I stayed calm, let her talk, kept the recording running. "Victor says, if we get the money quickly, we can pay off the debts and start fresh," she said, apparently forgetting to be careful with her words. "What debts?" I asked. She paused, realizing her mistake, then quickly changed the subject. But it was too late. I had it on tape. A few days later, Aunt Lorraine gave me something even better. She had been at a coffee shop when she spotted Dorothy and Victor at a nearby table.